Hello guys, welcome to the first tutorial of series Login and User Management. And today I'm gonna teach you how to make a simple registration system using PHP, MySQL, jQuery, and a bit of AJAX. And one of the most important features of this, it supports unique username. So let's check it out. We're gonna put name Sid, and if I keep the username Sid, the bar is gonna turn green. And if I the username John, it's gonna turn red because somebody has already taken that, and now it's not a valid username to be taken. Now let's get at the email sid@gmail.com, and password, as it's a secret, we're gonna keep it a secret. And finally the website TheMindSpeaks.com. Now remember this is gonna launch soon. And you can see now we have successfully registered. It means all data that we have entered is now in our MySQL database table. So let's start coding. Now let's get started. But before that, I want to show you that we have already added a style sheet and the main jQuery file. You can get the link of style sheet from the description below, and jQuery you can get it from the CND. Now let's remove the whole code to start coding again. First of all the HTML and then the PHP one. Now we have a nice blank canvas to work on. Let's reload. Now first of all, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a form element with method post action register.php and class form first underscore few. Now class first underscore few. Okay, now we have that. Now we're going to create three input elements. First one for name, second one for username, and third one for the password. So first of all, div with class icon, label, and span element inside it with class material icons and text face in it because it will give us a face icon. Now face. Now we're going to create an input element with type text and name attribute set to name with name value. Okay, and placeholder name, and we're going to close it. Now we're going to copy this code. Let's reload, and then we'll copy this code because writing it again and again it gets too time consuming. So we're going to change the class of span to font awesome, that is far, and far users because the second field is of the username. Now we'll remove the text inside the span and we'll change the name to username and placeholder to username again. Now we'll copy this code and paste it again. Now for users to far key, name to password, placeholder to secret, and type attribute to password. Now let's reload. As you can see, it's done and it's all looking nice. Now finally we are going to create a button element with type submit attribute, and we're going to add text register in it. Now let's reload. As you can see, the button has came up and the form is looking really nice and beautiful, and it's simple too. You can get the CSS now. Give it a thumbs up too. Now we'll be working on the jQuery now. First we're going to create a script element. You can even add it to an external file. Now we'll assign ID to the username input. ID username. First of all, we're gonna add an event to it. When a user will start typing username, it's gonna call a function. So dollar bracket hash username on input. We're gonna trigger a function, that function, and now first of all we'll be getting the value out of it. So user is equals to dollar brackets hash user dot val function. This is gonna extract values from it. Now we're gonna initialize the AJAX request. We're using get over here. So get name of the file, that's register.php over here. Now we're gonna send some data it along with the request, that is username and end user. This is because of validating. What we are going to do, we are going to validate that the username is valid or not. Now function, the first parameter data, and now we'll trigger a function. If we receive true from the server, from the PHP file, this means the username is valid and is available to be used. And if we got something else like false from the server, it means the username is not valid and cannot be used. So if the username is valid, what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the color of the input. Yes, we're gonna change the background to green. So dollar brackets has username dot css background color to RGBA. We're gonna set an alpha value to it. So RGBA 0, 255, 0 and 0.3 alpha value. That's 30% over here, as you can see. Now we're gonna copy the same code and paste it in the else block, but we're gonna change the color for it. So RGBA 255, 0, 0 and 0.3, the same opacity. As you can see, that's green and that's red. Now if we have received false from it, to prevent the submission of the form, we're gonna set the button to disabled. We're gonna add attribute, so dollar button attr disabled. This will add disabled attribute to the button, which it means the button is disabled and cannot be clicked now. On the same thing, we're gonna remove the attribute if we have received the true value from the server. So we're gonna use the remove attr function, and this will remove the attribute. Now let's reload. As you can see, our JavaScript is completely done and a whole HTML is done. So let's try it by using dummy value. First we're gonna add true to it to the register PHP. So now, okay, as you can see, whatever type, it turned green because the server is returning true. And now let's try adding false. So okay, it's now red. If I click on the button too, it will not submit the form. Now moving to the server scripting, where we're gonna add PHP and MySQL. Now we have came almost halfway of the tutorial, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some PHP and MySQL work. First of all, we're gonna create a database on the MySQL server, then a table. So let's establish a connection to it. So $con is equals to new MySQLi localhost root, and we don't have any password. Now we're going to write the query for creating a database. So create database tuts. Now let's run this query. $con query and query. Let's reuse the register.php to create the database. Now we have successfully created a database. Now we are gonna connect to the database that we have recently created. And now we'll create a new table named users into the database that we have recently created. So the first column of the table is ID, which with int data types, auto increment, and primary key as additional attributes. The second column will be names, set to watcher 255 because it's idle for name. Third and column will be username and password, both set to watcher 255. You can increase or decrease the limit as per your wish. That's all up to you. Now we have the same execution code. Let's reload. Now we have successfully created table and the database. Our SQL work is now over. Now we'll be moving to the real PHP codes. And we are keeping the connection out of any of the if blocks. Now we are using if blocks here because if somebody has requested the register.php with post type and he has entered the username and password in the field, it means he has requested a registration. And an else if block if the page is requested with get type and it has variable set username, then we're gonna validate the username as our AJAX is doing. It is requesting the register.php with get type and the variable set is username. So else if is set $_get username, and for the registration we're using not empty post password and not empty $_post username because they must not be empty in order to register. Now let's do the validation task first. Now we're gonna write a query for it. The $query equals to select ID from users where we are performing a strict match over here, not a pattern match, where username equals to quotes $_get username. We're not performing a pattern match because if we match the pattern, it means it will block the whole range of username. That's why. So now let's execute the query with set the data type with a variable assigned to it, data. Data is equals to $con query brackets and query inside the brackets, $query inside the brackets. Now we have received MySQLi return object, result object. Now we'll check if the num rows equals to 0, then the username is valid. It means you can use it. And we're gonna echo true here. And if it's not equals to true 0, we're gonna echo false. Let's give it a try now. As you can see, I enter everything because it's a unique. We have created a new data table, so nothing will happen. Now let's change the true to something else. Okay, as you can see, it's now red. It's not working. Now true to again, it's working. It means we have a unique username. Now moving to post, where the user will request a registration. Here, what we'll be doing is first we'll be converting the variables. So $name is equal to and post underscore name and we'll repeat the same thing with the other two variables again. So username is equals to $_post square brackets and that username, and password is equals to $_post passwords square brackets password. Now we're done. Now let's build a query. So $query is equals to insert into users bracket start name username password values $name $username comma password. Now let's execute the query. If we are adding if that we have for conditional, like if we have if the entry is totally inserted in the database, we're gonna get a true and false for the user output. If query $query successful, then we're gonna echo like us. If it works, then you have to give it a thumbs up. And if don't, then subscribe us. What? Now let's check it out. So SSS is a username, SSS, and password SSS. Okay, we have successfully inserted the data into the database, and you have to give it a thumbs up now. Let's try it again with the SSS username that we have already taken. So if I type SSS, okay, it turned red. It means the username is already taken and now cannot be used. Now, thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. More awesome things are on the way. Soon we are gonna launch the MVC series, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up and please subscribe us. Please, please, please. Thanks for watching once again.